room here. Most of you are probably wondering, where's Joe Fenny, our beloved Munchables? Oh, look at him there. Just slacking off. He's not even at work. What is going on?
Taking in
For goodness sake.
Taking in some of the sights around Vegas, I see.
He's getting to do all the fun stuff. We know. He's out in the sunshine.
Guess he felt like he was just going to take the day off, go do some tourism around Las Vegas.
He looks like he's having a good time. Maybe he can make some friends. Joe is with us in spirit, of course, and in cardboard, as you can see. Coming up later, we do have an update on Joe, so stay tuned for that. But right now, it's time for our very first 5v5 draft between Team Queso and Qlash.
And this is what we've been waiting for, getting the competitive 5v5 underway. This is why we're here. This is what everyone has been waiting.
Anticipating.
A lot of players, as Flash mentioned, even more than 4 months. They have been waiting. If they didn't make it to the World Championship, it's been about 5-6 months for some of these guys, and some of these players are brand new onto the scene as well. So it is going to be really exciting, and we are getting things underway now.
Fantastic.
Couple bands already out on the board. Lyra from the side of Queso, Cruel from the side of Qlash. Definitely very strong meta picks in this 5 versus 5 band format. We've gone through a little bit of a transition period where we are actually moving into a triple ban system. So it's a little bit different than what you typically have out of your normal ranked queue. But we're just going to have to see how the meta shakes up.
Yeah, it's a little difficult to see what's going on there. We'll hopefully get that sorted out for everyone. But brand new system. There's bound to be a couple of hiccups here and there. But now we can get a better idea of what is being selected. You see Reza and Alpha. These two heroes are actually going to be incredibly popular, along with the Taka. And right there, you can see the Tony as well, the newest hero in Vainglory, going to be played in our very first game.
Tony has been an absolute monster on the Sovereign's Rise. He's super flexible in terms of how teams have been using him. I've seen him played as captain. I've seen him played out of the jungle. He can even make for a very strong top or bottom laner, primarily in that weapon power role. And of course, we've got to talk about the Bada Boom. I am super excited to see him making some plays.
Yeah, there is a huge playmaking abilities with Tony. And I like the fact that they're then grabbing the Batiste as well on Qlash, just to have a little bit more crowd control, because if you can combo those together, you can completely decimate an opposing squad, split them up, and then isolate targets to take them down. Especially, if you can isolate the Alpha or isolate the Taka, they're both usually very slippery. You get them isolated, you take them out of the equation right off the bat, and you've got yourself a one-team fight.
Yeah, it's going to be really strong. Team Queso picking up the Fortress there. In my opinion, one of the single strongest heroes on the Sovereign's Rise in this 3.1 update. Whether his team-wide movement speed boost with his A ability, super strong, constantly allowing his entire team to maneuver around the map. And then Kestrel, off the back of that, is going to put out a ton of damage.
Yeah, that Fortress, not just your opinion on being one of the strongest heroes, he actually has one of the highest win rates in the game across all regions right now in 5v5. So Queso is definitely going to be very happy about getting that selection. And obviously, the Kestrel able to just delete targets if she's allowed. Samuel, another one of these big mid laners that we've been seeing a lot. Samuel, Virus, Celeste, Scarf have kind of been the top 4 choices for the mid lane. But again, we don't necessarily know exactly where these players are going to be going. There is no set meta for Vainglory 5v5. They could be swapping things up. We'll just have to wait and see.
Speaking about no set meta, one of the biggest surprises to me in 5 versus 5 is how successful a weapon Batiste has been. That is something that I've seen in a lot of scrims. A lot of teams have been using to great effect. Whether or not that's going to be a weapon Batiste today, we're going to have to wait and find out. But the amount of damage with his buffed perk is absolutely insane.
I feel like it almost certainly will be, because you already have Reza and Samuel, who are both almost certainly going to be Crystal Power. So it leaves open that weapon Batiste. I think it's looking at what they have already with the first 4 picks, it's very likely to be going that weapon power route. But we are on to the last 2 picks of the draft. Queso, what are they going to round about their composition with? We haven't really talked too much about what their composition is going to be able to do. They have those 2 sort of almost bruiser assassin type characters with the Alpha and the Taka. And then I don't really know how they're going to make that work with the rest of their composition, though.
Yeah, the great thing is they have 3 very strong, very tanky front lines. Whenever Fortress releases his Attack of the Pack, that's going to block a lot of the abilities. If Batiste goes Crystal Power, that's going to shut him down very heavily. It's going to do wonders against Samuel whenever he drops his Drifting Dark. And it looks like Qlash is going to round things out with the Grumpcha, which is another super strong pick on the Sovereign's Rise.
Yeah, it's when you look at Qlash, you can see a lot of AoE. There's a lot of AoE potential between the Tony, the Batiste, the Samuel. Even the Grumpjaw has a little bit of AoE, a lot of pick potential there, whereas Queso, they're not necessarily really a team fight-oriented composition in my mind. A lot of them is just really strong individual heroes. I feel like they're going to be looking for those one-on-one matchups early in the game.
Yeah. Wow, that was intense already. So now that the first draft is complete, what are your initial thoughts on how this game is going to go?
I mean, I'm thinking it looks like Queso, they're going to be looking for that early game advantages. They're going to be looking to try and win the lane matchups and take that lead into the mid to late game, start forcing down objectives very early on. And if Qlash can kind of withstand that early aggression, I feel like Qlash is going to have an advantage in the late game.
Yeah, Qlash just needs to make sure early on that they're not overextending, that they're positioning very well. They have to be wary of these assassin gank-heavy heroes. And as long as they can do that, and if they can scale long enough later on into the game, I think they're going to be sitting pretty happily.
So you need to be cautious, but brave. I'm looking forward to this. It is time very soon to begin our very first 5v5 competitive. Now, let me ask you guys, if you were going into this now, how would you be feeling? Are you nervous? Would you be more excited? Where would you be feeling?
I think a lot of the players are just more excited than anything.
Just
they're
so
just, they're
excited
just
to be
happy
here,
to get
finally.
back into playing competitive matches that have meaning again. Like, that's what so many of them on Twitter and out on social media have been talking about, is that they just can't wait to actually play matches that have, you know, a more of a purpose than just a practice does.
Yeah, exactly. This is the first opportunity for these players and these teams to prove that they've made great decisions in the offseason, that they've been working hard to kind of set the momentum and the tempo going forward as we work closer and closer to the start of VPL officially.
Fantastic. I am so excited to get into this. There are so many different heroes that I want to see play today. And I noticed that there were a couple there that got locked out. Do you want to talk about those guys and what we're missing out on this particular game?
Yeah, I mean, Kroll, I think, is one of these heroes that we're going to see banned every single game. I would be shocked if any team is allowed to play a Kroll. He has been one of just a dominant force. He just terrorizes the jungle early on, can make invasions, can go into the lanes, and just really swing things early and make it very difficult to recover from.
Yeah, definitely in your standard ranked queue, always banned players not having a lot of opportunity to play Kroll, like you said. The other one is Celeste. Celeste has been an absolute monster in the mid lane. A lot of these mid laners, very talented, super strong on her, and the fact that she can put out so much damage from that backline and with the additional range buffs that she got across the board, definitely making her dominant in the mid lane.
Yeah, I was actually a little bit surprised that she made it through to the second wave of bans and wasn't picked up right off the bat when she wasn't taken out in the first rotation. But obviously the teams wanted the priority on kind of those assassin-type heroes, with the Reza and the Alpha being the first two selections. So that's where the priority for these two teams clearly lied, was trying to get those assassin heroes under their belt so that they can make those early quick plays.
Yeah. Now, I do have one more question. Now, obviously, this is very different than the 3v3, it being a 5v5. That's a whole additional 2 players each side, guys. Math. But this is going to be far more chaotic than a 3v3, right? Are they going to have better communication skills to be able to communicate with each other of what their plan's going to be, or do you think it's going to be more chaotic and a little bit rambunctious?
I think teams are just going to grow and develop as the season goes. Definitely communication going to have much more impact in 5 versus 5 as it did compared to 3 versus 3. Are things going to be perfect right off the bat? Probably not, but I think that these teams are all hungry to win, and they're going to be learning and growing throughout this preseason.
Yeah, absolutely.
Fantastic.
We've heard of some teams having communication issues on 3v3. If you have 5 voices all talking at once, nothing is going to get done. So teams really need to solidify who their shot caller is.
Absolutely. Speaking of, it looks like we are ready to get into the very first 5v5 competitive match in the Vainglory Premier League Preseason Invitational.
All right, here we go. On to Sovereign's Rise for the very first game of the preseason. And this is what everyone has been waiting for. Tasty Bacon here going to be calling the action. Alongside me will be Dragonborn for today as we get underway. And we see right off the bat a little bit of a skirmish here going for those as the buffs start spawning. You see these invasion attempts, and right off the bat already almost getting first blood. Leon, got to be careful there.
Absolutely. Great to have you here, Tasty. Great to be here as well. As we do see, like, just 1 minute in, we'd like to see a little bit of action between these two teams. I always, at least when I get into these games, you've got to contest the vision early and try to contest some farm if you want to be a little aggressive, and it looks like that's exactly what Queso is doing.
Yeah, they're definitely looking for some opportunities, but in the end, it looks like everything will kind of settle down a little bit. Both teams kind of stick back to their side, but now we get to look at where these teams are going to be going, where they're going to be positioning everyone, and you can see already a 2-on-2 matchup here. Queso and Qlash, Leon and I'm the Doom going to be pairing up together in the mid lane, and that's something that we've started to see from a lot of these 5v5 teams, is that they put the carry mage and the captain in the mid lane just to try and harass each other and try and get that advantage from the lane that can roam easily to the two sides.
Absolutely, the mid's so important to make sure that you secure. You don't want to lose any of your matchups, but especially if you have like a very squishy hero in the mid. You see both Samuel and Varia, they need to make sure they farm up, get to that point, not get behind. So having that support there, that captain there. I like to see Leon on the Tony. That's going to be exciting to see, Tasty, how he plays that up. We already saw him using his taunt, trying to get that action, trying to bring the fight towards him.
Yeah, I'm actually super excited that we are getting a Tony in our very first game. That was one of my questions, was when we were going to see the Tony, and right off the bat, Leon going to bring him out. It'll be interesting to see where the build path kind of goes for him. I'm a little bit surprised that Leon is actually playing in the captain role for the side of Qlash, because we know him as such a strong carry, such a dominant force. But to see him transition to this captain role, we're going to see a lot of players actually swapping roles and playing in a role that we're not accustomed to them seeing. Paulo Toro, for instance, playing in the lane when he made a name for himself as a jungler.
No, absolutely. Of course, a lot of these players had to switch positions as they made the transition to 5v5, and I'm excited to see how they do it right now here on the Rise. As we do see some skirmishing going up in the jungle, moving in. I mean, this Varia, I love to see PRZ stay with Techno. You want to make sure that Varia gets fed, because late game, Varia is a monster to deal with. She is so strong.
Yeah, and the nice thing about Varia is you can there's two alternate build paths you can go for her. One is just focusing on the burst, whereas the other one is more about the sustained damage, the basic attack damage. And based on the fact that he's maximizing the B first, I feel like it's going to be the more sustained basic attack damage build that we'll get to see out of this Varia. But right now, Tyra's going in deep, but he gets stunned by the Kestrel, and I'm the Doom now going to be trying to move around, but they get the Treant stolen. That's going to help out a lot. 4-on-2, and first blood will be going to Team Queso.
Wow, nice job. Queso being the aggressors. They started off hot at the first minute, trying to go in there, get that vision, get that jungle farm, and getting a kill on the enemy side of the jungle, in fact. So looking to keep the pressure up. That's actually going to give a lot of space for Varia in the mid, but we are seeing Queso. They're looking to take away that crystal tree.
Nice stun on the PRC, and he is just deleted. Agni going to try and go in with this Grump Jaw, but not really going to find any damage on the Techno. They did, however, steal away the Crystal Orb, and that is something that can be really big in determining how this mid lane matchup goes. You want to get that Crystal buff onto your mid laner so that they have an advantage in the early game.
Yeah, but it didn't go on to I'm the Doom, so he's not going to have that instead going on the jungler. It's going to be keep that mid a little bit even, but I like how Queso's been pushing the mid just fine. They've been able to go up there and get the farm after they push that mid up.
And we'll also have to keep our eyes on, it's not going to be too crucial right now, but the vision game as we go a little bit further in, once the rotations start to become more and more frequent, where those scout cams are getting placed, making sure that you can spot your opponents coming into your jungle, trying to get up to these side lanes.
Absolutely.
So that you know what's happening. You can see right there, it's right off the bat, Palmatoro, he's going to see this rotation from Nettolet and Agony because of that scout cam, can get back to his turret safely.
Right, but Qlash able to go through the entire enemy jungle right there, uncontested, unseen, until they rotate up to that top lane. Just because you don't have a lot of vision here early on.
Nettolet going to be in trouble. A great fearsome shade is going to keep everyone at bay and get them out safely. So nice job by Nettolet using that ultimate, making sure that the gank is not successful.
Yeah, there's a tension bow and a storm guard on Agony already. He's going to do a lot of damage here. It's just 5 minutes, so you got to be careful. You both have that Baptiste and you've got the Grumchaw when they rotate up there to the top like that. Yeah, even though there was 3 men from Queso up there, you really have to be careful contesting into that early game Grumchaw. Tension Bow does a lot of proc damage in the first few minutes of the game.
That early burst is insane, and it's one of the great things about Grumchaw is he has that early damage with the Tension Bow into the Storm Guard. They already take down that first turret, but it also, he can scale really well into the late game because you just get a lot of cooldown and focus on just using that ultimate as frequently as you can. Nice taunt from Leon, gonna bring PRZ back a bit, get a couple of those Malice and Verdicts from I'm the Doom out, and you can see Qlash already trying to group up. They know that Queso's, their win condition is to group up and start finding advantages in the lanes, so Qlash is just countering that. They find Tyrus. Tyrus is gonna be in some trouble here. He uses that healing flask. There's gonna be the ultimate from Carl, and Tyrus, he's going to get dropped into the Infinite Reboot and taken down. And that's something else we have to talk about. Carl starting here for Qlash. You know, last year he was a substitute all year long, so now getting onto a starting roster.
Absolutely. Nice job by Qlash. Finding, I think we're going to see that a lot today, actually a lot throughout the entire preseason, is getting caught in the shot bushes. You've really, when you get a shot, you got to be quick. Hunter with the one shot. Doesn't look like that hit anybody, but you've got to be careful getting that vision, making sure you're not getting caught out in these bushes. That's the biggest thing that I've seen. You've got to be careful. Tyra's paying the price big time.
Yeah, you really got to keep your head on a swivel. The Ghost Wing getting captured by Qlash, that's going to be a nice little advantage for them as well. You can see they're starting to build up about a 4,000 gold lead, and here comes the 5-man rotation, or 4-man, excuse me, rotation into the mid, taking a turret down very quick. And they're able to just destroy these turrets so fast. When you get grouped up, you can just melt through these objectives. And they're not stopping at one to say, you know what, no one's answering from Queso. We'll gladly take your second turret in the bottom lane.
Right, if you can push a lane like this uncontested, that's exactly what you're going to see multiple objectives take as we go through.
Yeah, but you can see Qlash, or Queso, answering by instead sending multiple members to the top and mid, getting some turrets of their own in response. So a great job by Queso to not panic in that situation. You know, a lot of times you can see a team panic and just try and overcommit to answering that push, and instead they just said, you know what, we'll just keep pushing our own lanes. We took 2 turrets of our own. That's actually an even trade as far as the gold is concerned.
It is, and a nice job to avoid conflict when you have that Ghost Wing buff. So Qlash, kind of wanting to have the engage, they are looking for a defense, and instead Queso avoids all of that. You know, they do get the mid though, so they are up an objective right now.
An interesting Samuel, but they do end up getting the kill on to the Alpha. So Tyrus, not having the greatest of times thus far on this Alpha, kind of getting caught out a couple of times here. Hopefully he can, focus a little bit more on sticking with his team, making sure he stays safe, because if you're getting caught out, you're creating these 5-on-4 then opportunities, especially when Qlash has already shown that they are more than happy to just continuously rotate as a 5-man squad.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that develops. 2 objective lead, actually, so it is 7 turrets still remaining for Qlash, as they did get that top one early on in the game. So I would say still pretty even. The gold lead, though, 5,000 in favor of Qlash. How does that, I don't know if that really makes a huge deal right now, but it's something that if they can't come back, if Queso doesn't start to mitigate, they're going to have some problems in these team fights, especially when Qlash groups up like that.
Yeah, I mean, a 5,000 gold lead isn't as impactful as it was in 3v3 when, you're essentially equating that to almost a 2,000 gold lead per player, whereas now it's only about 1,000 gold lead per player. But Qlash, they are just so objective focused here. This is great to see. Just all they care about is these objectives. They're challenging Queso to come try and fight them, and Queso's just not willing to answer. They're already onto the Armories, Dragonborn.
Yeah, that's because Queso went all the way up into the bottom lane, and they left their Armories open. They left their Crystal open. They are recalling back.
Yeah, they already got 1 kill, though. It's a 5-on-4, but they're in the base. That's going to be Tyrus going extremely low. He's going to drop to that Infinite Reboot. They finally get the kill onto Leon, but that's just the captain. The damage dealers are still here for Qlash. I'm the Doom still almost full health. He's going to be retreating now as Nettolet goes down, but 3 on 4 now for a couple of seconds more. It was a 2-for-1 trade, but look at how much Qlash just got. This base is in shambles now.
It absolutely is. You know, kind of the idea of taking another objective when your enemy's pushing down is great, except when you're talking about the objective being your armory. You leave yourself so exposed. And it's just one armory. I mean, there's absolutely a case for Queso coming back into this match, but they need to be careful. They can't let that happen again. They have to contest now. They actually are going to have to get in front of Qlash before that push.
Yeah, it's going to be very difficult. You know, we're going to be talking a lot over the course of this preseason and the regular season about wave management. That top lane is always going to be pushing, and now Qlash looking for a fight. They get one kill very, very quickly, taking down the Varia. That is huge. PRC, he's looking like he might fall as well. They will let him go. That is very strange to me that they let them go. If they had found a big fight there, they could have pushed in, tried to take another armory down, but they allow Queso to escape. That is something we might come back later on in this game if Qlash aren't careful. Yeah,
and they allow Palmatoro. You know, I thought they were going to split up and just chase Taka. Taka's so slippery, able to get out of there. Recalls in the bush. Grumpjaw by himself wasn't going to be able to take him down anyway, so the whole team just kind of dispersed at that point, and I think really missed an opportunity to close out the game. With 3 members left over, I still think this is going to be really tough for Queso.
I think they may have been worried that they wouldn't be able to close out the game because they were over on the bottom side of the map. They were near the Ghost Wing pit, whereas obviously the top armory is the one that they have down, but they still get another turret out of this. We're still going to be waiting for Blackclaw to show up. It's going to be another 3 minutes before that big objective is there. I feel like Qlash, they might be starting to kind of settle in. They'll take objectives where they can get them, but they're going to be more than happy if this game just goes out to the 15 minutes, get the Blackclaw and try and win then. But they have such a big lead right now. They can just try and force things like they're doing now.
They might. We're with that double proc going in.
And Tyra's going to be in a little bit of trouble, but that's the Varia ult doing so much work. The health bars are melting. There's multiple kills on each side. And you can see now that's going to be the Samuel going very low. I'm the Doom trying to make a play happen, but Queso has turned this team fight around. A huge Varia ult at the start of that fight set that one up.
Yeah, Varia, as we get later into the game, is going to start to get more powerful, and this is something that could really turn the tides for Queso. They needed this team fight. You saw grouping up Qlash, kind of engaging, wanting to get that fight going on so they could close this game out, but it looks like the tides have turned.
I love what Techno JJ did with his build. You know, we were talking about the burst damage versus the sustained damage. Right. He realized these fights are not going to last long enough. He's not going to survive long enough to get those Dragon's Eye stacks, so he went for the Shatter Glass, and that was why that burst of damage up front from the Varia ult. He didn't have to ramp up. All the damage was front-loaded onto that team fight, and it got the members from Qlash low enough, so great decision-making in the itemization.
Yeah, Qlash has been liking to group up here in these team fights, and that's going to be something Varia can contest and counter right away. Qlash is going to have to quickly adapt to that strategy. They're going to have to disperse a little bit earlier on, and they have the ability to do so. I mean, you've got an open lane on the top, completely free, Tasty. They could just, you know, split push that and get in there. Right now, as this game's getting later, this is giving Queso some room to breathe.
Yeah, absolutely has. And that team fight, you see how much it just did in terms of the gold lead. It is now only about a 2,000 to 3,000 gold disparity. So Queso, we said, you know, just losing your first armory, that doesn't knock you out of the game, but we're going to get another big team fight here. A great block with the Crucible on that Tony's taunt, but now the team fight is continuing to build. It's spreading out. Tyrus is going to get the kill, uses the ultimate. Can he find the kill on the Grumpjaw? Agony will drop. It is a 2-for-1 trade in favor of Queso thus far, but Techno JJ, he's going to be going down an even team fight. You still got to be kind of happy with that if you're Queso, though. You were still behind, going even in a fight, that's still a win.
Absolutely. Techno's ult was not up yet. He couldn't use it. It was like 5 seconds. He wasn't able to use it. It will be up for the next fight. Qlash, I think, doing a good job just recognizing that they had a small window to engage.
Tyra's on the run. He doesn't have that passive, but the rest of Queso is here. They're trying to turn this fight around. They're getting a lot of damage onto that Toilette, but it's just not enough as they find the kill onto Alpha. Now, still, this Taka is trying to do what he can. They're trying to just dance around, but he's going to go down. He's going to drop as well, but now here comes the Varia. The ultimate is going to be used. Not really to great effect there, unfortunately. This could be bad news for Queso.
This could be. They picking up an extra kill, and now they're not going to have that ultimate available when they get into the next fight, which is Qlash really likes to just jump all in and group up.
Yep.
That's not going to be available. That's something that we have to keep an eye on. And
Yeah, you can see the time on it, 60 seconds, so a full minute that Qlash will have to, without worrying about that Varia ultimate. They can group up freely. They can try and force something at one of these two dragons. Both both Black Claw and Ghostwing are now up. A lot of times you see a team go for the Ghostwing so that they have that buff around a Black Claw fight. Sometimes you see a team just go straight for the Black Claw. So it'll be interesting to see where Qlash decides to try and go with this, because they are still the ones that are in control of this game. They still have the advantage, but things are getting more and more even as we go on.
absolutely, this late game for Queso could be their ticket to get back into it, maybe even take down. They haven't been able to get any more objectives, though. A lot of this is just trying to get back into the game. And Qlash, since they know they have a slight advantage,
oh, look at this.
Ghostwing.
With the scout cam in the Ghostwing pit, they know that it's happening, so Queso, they immediately go up to the Black Claw. It's going to take a little while for Qlash to get there, and Queso will get the Black Claw unleashed, but now can they get out of this fight? They don't want to fight with this Ghostwing up, but it's going to happen anyway. There, everything goes. A couple of blocks, but Tyrus, he's dropping extremely low. So is Hundor. Hundor will be the first to fall. Carol goes down as well on the other side. Tyrus still somehow alive, will eventually get dropped. It is now a 4-on-2, and Qlash are cleaning up. They're in the top lane. Pomodoro the only one left. A triple kill coming through for Net Toilette. This could very well be the game, as there is no armory down. The crystal is exposed, and Qlash, with that team fight, will be able to take the very first game of the Vainglory Premier League Preseason Invitational.
Oh boy, again, another example, because Techno used that ultimate early on as a disengage, really not even as a strong fighting tactic. He didn't have it available. It was down by 2 seconds. Again, another fight where Qlash was able to get in there and take advantage of Techno not having that up.
Yeah, a great game for both sides, really. A phenomenal attempt by Queso to come back. I loved what they did around that Black Claw play. Once they spotted that Qlash was going for the Ghostwing, they immediately made the decision to go after the Black Claw and unleash Black Claw. But unfortunately, they got caught up in the team fight immediately after and